Well, hello and welcome to this week's Monday Moments, coming to you from my office this week. And before we dive into the topic of this week's Monday Moment, a couple of quick thank yous and looking ahead to things. So first of all, thank you to everyone who came out to our second weekend of Popcorn Falls. The show was so much fun, and audiences who were able to make it to the show this weekend and the last two weekends really did enjoy it. And we also want to thank the cast and crew for all of their hard work and the extra people who came in and helped us with Strike yesterday, because Strike went really fast and it was awesome. So thanks for that. Looking ahead to this week, we want to mention that coming up on Friday night is our third annual Walking Gage County Ghost Tour, and so tickets are still available for all of the tour slots for that, and those start at 6 o'clock, and new tours leave every 45 minutes on Friday. So that is going on there. And also a big shout out and thank you to everyone who auditioned for Elf the Musical, and that show actually starts rehearsals on Wednesday. So all kinds of things like that happening. But the real topic of this week's Monday Moment was something that I just realized a little bit ago, is that right about now in this time frame is the 25th anniversary-ish of my starting to work here at Community Players. And the reason I even thought of it was because I was looking at something online, and it said that the big blizzard of 1997, for those of you who remember that, if you're like one of those old timers, oh, the blizzard of 97. But the blizzard of 97 also ushered in my arrival here at Community Players. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, but I do always remember that because I was moving from Colorado to Nebraska. I'm originally from Nebraska, but I was living in Colorado at the time, and that blizzard started in the small town in Colorado where I was living at the time and moved its way up here. So that's how I always remember when I was kind of starting my time here at Community Players, are the anniversaries of the Great Blizzard of 97. So yeah, 25 years. So I wanted to talk just real briefly. We're not doing any kind of party this year or anything like that. And yes, Phil, I started at Community Players when I was 15. Thank you. So I just really quickly made some notes about what has kind of changed, and just a chance to reflect. Like I said, we're not going to do any big party or anything like that for my 25th, though. Feel free to make donations to Community Players, a $25 donation to Community Players in honor of my 25th anniversary. That would be awesome. Anyway, so I want to talk about some of the changes that we've seen over the past 25 years at Community Players. And there's been, a couple. First of all, the biggest change is the fact that there wasn't gray hair in my temples 25 years ago. So that's number one and the most significant. But beyond that is, our programming has really grown over the past 25 years. When I started here, we did 3 shows in the regular season and then a bonus summer show, and that was all Community Players did. And so right now, for those of you who are super familiar with our programming, we have 6 shows in the regular season, 3 shows in our education series called Acting Up, or called Stage Door, and then usually there's at least one additional show that takes place that we produce during the year, and that's on top of things like the Walking Ghost Tours coming up this Friday, our annual variety show Cabaret fundraiser in the spring, and other events that we partner with other organizations in the community to bring to Beatrice in southeast Nebraska. So there's a lot of stuff, and that size of programming necessitated, of course, the need to have more staffing. And when I started working here, I was the only employee. There was one other person who volunteered pretty regularly, and that was, for those of you who remember her, Mildred Spilker, Tyler, who was our box office manager as a volunteer for 25 years, something like that. And she did all of our box office work by hand on little steno pads. But it was just me and Mildred in the building most days. But now we have 4 employees who work here. I'm full-time, as I've always been, but we've got Tyler as a full-time employee. Elena is 3/4 time. The phone's ringing. Maybe someone's making a donation. They're calling to get their ghost tour tickets, or it's a telemarketer. Then we've got our costume librarian, which is a couple hours a week, comes in and keeps all of our costumes organized and handles costume rentals for us. So we've grown to 4 employees, and we could use more, and we're hoping for some funding for some of that stuff to expand in the very near future. And then of course there's also the technology that has changed, like the way I'm talking to you right now. Facebook didn't exist 25 years ago, for better or for worse. Yeah, we can debate that. Also when I started working here, there was not, you see my spaceship computer command center here with the multiple monitors and all that stuff. When I started working here, there was a manual typewriter sitting on this desk. There was not a computer in here. So there was a manual typewriter. That's it. Things really have expanded quite a bit in those 25 years. Whenever I needed to do something on a computer, I had to go home. And use my personal computer at home whenever I needed to do something computer related for work. So now there's computers all over the place. Also, the fact that the technology has advanced with lighting. That is one of our big areas to always keep on top of. And we are moving into the second kind of phase of computerized digital lighting systems. Hope very soon, thanks to your contribution. So the light board that we've got is 21 years old, and we're going to be replacing that thanks to donations that we got during Big Give Gauge this year. There's just so much more, and also there's been a whole bunch of changes throughout the rest of the building. We plan on giving you a virtual tour of the green room renovations that have been going on, and the door on Tyler's office and things like that. We'll do that very soon, as soon as that's all done. Those are the things that did change. But some things that haven't changed over the past 25 years is the focus on quality and really making sure that we present a variety of programming to the community, so that we're not always doing just musicals. We're not always doing shows that you've heard of before, and that's a deliberate thing. We are not always every single show in a season is not going to be something that there's a movie or that you've seen 100 times. It's part of our mission is to make sure that we are exposed to new and exciting works as part of our programming. And I see Phil has commented we should calculate how many pots of coffee in 25 years. That would be an entire coffee plantation. I owe Juan Valdez and his mule a great deal of gratitude for hauling all of that Folgers to the coffee maker. And how many coffee makers I've gone through over the last several years, because the coffee pots die. Anyway, and the other thing that hasn't changed over the past 25 years is the professionalism. We have always emphasized professionalism in the way that we treat our volunteers, but also making sure that our audiences have a real professional experience when they come to Community Players, that they know they're going to be treated well, and from the moment they decide to purchase a ticket until they leave, and even after they've seen the show, that we're going to treat them right as customers, as patrons, as supporters of Community Players. All right. Well, so that is going to wrap it up. I'm wrapping it up here. Unless there are any questions from the 3 of you who are currently still online, or comments, aside from Phil's wonderful comments here, that anyone wants to ask or say about the 25 years that I've been here at Community Players. I'm going to pause there for a second if anyone's typing away frantically. And as we're doing that, I will just once again remind everyone that we've got our ghost tours coming up this Friday night. Tickets are still available for that. That's always really fun. And it's one of those kind of new things that we started about 3 years ago. And people have really enjoyed that. So the ghost tour is coming up this Friday night. Rehearsals start on Wednesday for Elf the musical. Oh, and they could still use a couple of guys to be in the ensemble for Elf the musical. So if you're interested in that, message us here at the theater, and we'll get you hooked up for that. Okay, I've seen no additional questions come in, so we're gonna wrap it up because I've got a meeting coming up in a few minutes about something else. So, because it's always busy here, and that's something else that hasn't changed over the past 25 years. So we want to thank you all for your support. Those of you who have been around and witnessed my graying hair, we thank you for being with us for those 25 years, and we'll see you next week.